Erik, you've been pretty consistent all season that Jimmy was giving you so many other things that whether it's playmaking, defense, leadership, et cetera, that you weren't really concerned about his shooting numbers being down. Uh, but when you see him get it going last night, how much does that open up the rest of your offense when he is getting in a little bit of rhythm from mid-range and deeper than that?
In some of the most competitive games this year, he was actually really effective from mid-range and those short floaters. There's, when you play really good defensive teams, and you can do your research on which games those were during the course of the regular season. He can go to that part of his game, and that's needed in the playoffs. But he's a well-rounded player that's able to read the game. It's not necessarily about the scoring every time. Sometimes it's the playmaking, facilitating, cutting. Last night we needed him to put the ball in the basket, particularly going down the stretch. But it may be different tomorrow, and he has a great IQ and feel to be able to read that.
Erik, one quick follow.
He's been a very effective shooter over the course of his career. He's a great free throw shooter, so it's not like he's a non-shooter.
Erik, one other quick thing. Today's the 25-year anniversary of the Knicks trading Pat Riley to the Miami Heat for a first-round pick that became Walter McCarty. Obviously, that turned out to be a pretty good trade.
Yeah.
Can you
anniversary today?
25 years today, September 1st, 1995. I'm just curious, how did you receive that news at the time?
Super nervous. I thought I would probably be out, and I would have been out if it didn't end the way it did. He couldn't bring anybody from New York, but if he could have, he was going to bring Jeff. I had heard, and probably his whole staff. He was definitely going to bring his video guy. So I thought I was the very strong potential that I was going to be out. Without a job going into coaching in September, that's a tough timing. But I had already had some good experience working, for the draft, so I was cool with that. But I was definitely nervous. Obviously, you fast forward now, and I'm just extremely grateful for all these years, working for the Godfather. He really has been an incredible blessing in my life. It's you're not gonna get me emotional now. That just takes me down memory lane. Everybody knows how I feel about Pat and how good. It kind of surprised me right now. A little emotional, but he's been great for the franchise. That partnership of the Rileys and the Arisons, that'll go down all time in sports, and how they've transformed this franchise, but also the city of Miami. Been a great boost.
Hi, Erik. What's a specific skill set or sets of Kendrick that made you want to use him in Game 1?
He's been one of our most important players all season long. There were just some unpredictable circumstances why he wasn't in the rotation when we got here. It's all hands on deck at this point, but he's a guy that can bring us scoring, shooting, playmaking, a lot of things, defense that we'll need in a series against a really good opponent like Milwaukee. I'm just happy, for him. He's really stayed with it, and these are not easy circumstances, particularly the way he prepared in May and June. It's just unfortunate timing. The COVID is real, as we continue to let people know.
Erik, you always hear coaches, especially one of the losing team, talk about adjustments and how it's just one game. But I know also you never find the perfect game for your team. What did you see sort of in Game 1 that you look at now and you said, hey, that was good, but we still have to do X, Y, or Z better?
Yeah, there's things that we went over today. Obviously I don't want to try to reinvent the wheel, right now. You just try to do what you do more consistently, better than what the other team is trying to do to their identity. And you have to have, a lot of maturity to understand that 7-game series are tough. They're long. And, you just have to take it one step of the way. We got one game out of the way. That's it. That you can't get caught up in all the storylines and everything. They lost game 1 of the last series and then absolutely dominated the rest of the way.
Last series, you had played a lot of guys all 12, or pretty much close to all 12 fourth quarter minutes. Last night, only one player played all 12 in the fourth quarter, and that was Jay Crowder. What made him so essential to play all 12 minutes in that fourth quarter? Thank you.
It's just a different series and different games. We really want everybody to be ready, and you don't know what the game is how it's going to present itself. But Jay was playing well. He was doing a lot of things well for us defensively. Either in the gaps on the weak side, his multiple efforts, his toughness on the glass, all those things we need. And offensively, he was providing a really good stability and spacing for us.
Coach, sort of on a history note, but different from what you're talking about, you've always set the bar really high in terms of accountability and player development for your young players. What are the things that your young players have to earn minutes, like when you're looking at a Duncan Robinson or a Tyler Hero?
They have to have a level of competence and work behind the scenes where you see that they're developing winning habits. That's the most important thing, earning trust, not just with the coaching staff, but with the veteran players. We have an extremely hardworking, ambitious young core of guys. But we've always felt that everything matters, even for the young guys. You're not just going to be gifted minutes or opportunities. You have to earn it, and by doing that, you learn, the things that impact winning, and so many of those things are not just that final line on the box score.
And with someone like Duncan, when you first got him, he's had a very unique journey and just the work that he's put in to even get a chance.
Yeah.
Did you see him earning that kind of starting role so quickly?
I didn't see it early on. No, it was all just about getting him into our culture, into our program, and let's just work the heck out of him and see who he can become after several months. Everybody overestimates what they can do in a day and underestimates what they can do in several months or a year. He's a guy that has put in a lot of time over the course of a long period of time when no one was watching, and he has, I think, his greatest quality, two greatest qualities, the same thing, but the persistence and grit that he has to keep on showing up the next day. That is a talent unto itself that a lot of people don't have, not only in this industry but any industry.
Thanks.
Spo, you've seen the majority of the great scoring performances in Miami Heat playoff history. Oftentimes they're unfortunately, that they tend to come in these elimination games. Can what Jimmy provided yesterday have that kind of iconic feel, despite it being a game one? And then the next layer of it is you always challenge guys to provide more.
Yeah.
That was his very best playoff game ever. Is there still more for him?
Whatever's required. That's what competition is all about. So it's a career high. I'm sure there will be a big-time response from Milwaukee tomorrow. And if that requires a bigger response, so be it. But this is what he wanted. This is why we wanted him here. And playoffs and competitive basketball, it either brings out more out of you, or brings out something different. But that's why he's here, is to bring something more for our franchise and out of himself.
Your sense now that families are allowed to come in here, what that's going to do?
I think it's good. I think it's a necessary boost. Not everybody chose to do it, but I think it's really cool. I mean, one of Quinny showed me the thing of Van Fleet and his kid's reaction. That is absolutely priceless. I mean, I had goosebumps watching it. I just think it's really cool. Everybody's sacrificed a lot, and this is historic. We're all so honored to be a part of this. You know, we feel like this is not necessarily the real world. We're able to continue to do what we love in the most safe environment. But it did require sacrifice that we're away from our family. So those who have their family here, I think it's a good thing.
How much, at least maybe from your window, did you get a sense of there being an ask for this to be granted for coaches, staff members, or was it pretty
We've been
understood
working
that
behind the scenes, but we get it. It doesn't make it easier, but you can't let everybody in. There's some element to this that this is working. So, you do want to have a somewhat controlled environment and control the numbers. So we get it. But if that can change at any point, it has my vote.